Epictetus was a Greek Stoic philosopher. His student Arrian put together a collection of his lessons and conversations called Discourses of Epictetus. This important intellectual work gives us useful information about Stoic philosophy, which has had a huge impact on the growth of Western thought. Epictetus was born around 55 CE in Hierapolis, Phrygia, which is now Turkey. He was a slave who became one of the most famous and respected thinkers of his time. He taught and thought about philosophy in Rome, where he had a big group of followers who admired how wise and sensible he was. Epictetus didn't write any works himself, but his students did. Arrian, in particular, memorized and recorded his lessons and put them in order in 8 books called the Discourses. Epictetus's discourses cover a lot of different topics that are important to people's lives, morals, and personal growth. Epictetus stresses how important it is to be self-disciplined, grow morally, and accept one's own limits. He tells people to develop a good attitude by focusing on what they can change and being okay with what they can't. The dichotomy of power is one of Epictetus's main ideas. He wants his readers to know that they are in charge of their own thoughts, feelings, and decisions, but they shouldn't worry about what other people think or what is happening in the world. His idea of real freedom is being able to separate yourself from outside events and accept them without getting upset about them. While writing the Discourses, Epictetus gives useful advice on how to live a good life, which he thinks should be based on logic and morals. He stresses how important it is to constantly practice, study, and become aware of oneself in order to develop resolve, moderation, and self-control. Another thing Epictetus talks about is the idea of happiness. He says that it doesn't rest on things like money or material things, but on how a person feels inside. He says that the only way to be truly happy is to align your values and desires with virtues, and to see the value in every event, no matter what kind it is. The Discourses of Epictetus are not just vague philosophical works, they are meant to be used in real life. In his writings, Epictetus tells his readers to be detached from life, to make the best of every situation, and to always try to become better people. The Discourses have always been popular because they contain timeless wisdom and useful advice for living a worthwhile and satisfying life. Epictetus's teachings have inspired many people over the ages by reminding them how important it is to stay calm inside, look for goodness in everything they do, and accept that change and uncertainty are inevitable. Let's have a look at the 5 best discourses of Epictetus. Quotes along with their explanation. Number 5. Things don't bother men. It's how they think about them that does. Explanation. Stoic philosopher Epictetus spoke the truth when he said that what bothers us is not external events or circumstances, but how we choose to think about them. In this quote, he talks about how powerful our thoughts are and how much they affect how we feel. Things that happen to us aren't what bothers us. What bothers us is how we think about and explain those things. In the end, our emotions are caused by our thoughts, beliefs, and opinions, which can be upsetting or relaxing. When we understand this basic truth, we can take charge of our own health and happiness, and it gives us comfort to know that we have the power to change how we see the world. If we choose to deal with life's problems with strength and a positive attitude, we can avoid needless pain and stay at peace with ourselves. Number 4. Situations don't make a man, they show him. Explanation. The saying from Epictetus's Discourses, "Circumstances do not make a man, they reveal him," sums up the Stoic philosophy that people are in charge of their own deeds and character, no matter what happens in the outside world. Epictetus said that a person is not defined by events or situations, but by how they react to and think about them. This means that how someone deals with difficult situations and life's trials shows and tests their real nature and moral character. This quote stresses how important it is to be responsible and aware of oneself. It also suggests that a person's inner strength and virtue are more important in shaping their character than their external circumstances. Number 3. Being wealthy doesn't mean having lots of things. It means not wanting many things. Explanation. Epictetus said, "Wealth is not having many things, but having few wants." This saying sums up the philosopher's view on real happiness. Epictetus said that a person's wealth is not measured by the things they own, but by their lack of desire for useless and extravagant things. For him, freedom and happiness come from not wanting these things. Epictetus urges people to develop an attitude of simplicity and separation from material things in a society that is focused on buying things and getting rich. He says that really being wealthy isn't about collecting things, but about being happy with what you already have, which frees you from always wanting more. Adopting this philosophy lets people put inner peace, personal growth, and important connections with other people ahead of the never-ending pursuit of wealth. Number 2. What worries people more than real problems are the worries they make about real problems. Explanation. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems, said Epictetus. This quote shows how powerful our minds are in shaping our lives. A lot of the time, we get stuck on the worst-case scenarios or possible bad results of the problems we're facing. The things that bother us the most are not the problems themselves, but our own worries and thoughts about them. This quote reminds us that we can stop worrying about things that don't matter and put our energy toward finding real answers if we focus on the here and now and deal with the facts. It tells us to become more self-aware and mindful, which helps us live our lives with more focus and peace of mind. Number 1. It's not death or suffering itself that scares people. It's the thought of them. Explanation. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, thought that real fear comes from how we think about and expect bad things to happen, not from actually going through them. In his writings, he says that letting fear control our thoughts and actions can ruin our lives by narrowing our potential and stopping us from trying new things. Epictetus tells us to be brave and strong in the face of trouble by saying that our fears come from inside us. He stresses how important it is to stop focusing on what's going on around us and start paying attention to how we feel inside. This teaches us that how we see and respond to difficult situations really determines how scared or happy we are. So, Epictetus tells us that we can get past the limits that fear puts on us and find real freedom if we can get over our fears. Here are the 5 important things we can learn from Epictetus. Why it's important to focus on what we can change. Epictetus says that we can't control many things in life, like what happens in the outside world, what other people do, and even our own bodies. Instead, he tells his readers to pay attention to what they can change, mostly their thoughts, decisions, wants, and actions. Keeping your mind in balance is very important. Epictetus says that we can stay happy and at peace by building a strong character within ourselves and avoiding getting caught up in what's going on around us. He tells his readers to develop a detachment attitude, which means not being too connected to results or things, and to be strong when bad things happen. How important it is to accept that things will change. Epictetus stresses that everything in life is temporary and will change. He tells people that change is a normal part of life and not to fight it. People can better handle the ups and downs of life if they are open to change and have a flexible attitude. The importance of self-examination and self-reflection. Epictetus tells his readers to do these things to get a better sense of their own thoughts, feelings, and actions. People can find negative patterns, harmful beliefs, and wants that may get in the way of their growth and well-being if they are aware of how their minds work. How important it is to live a good life and in harmony with nature. Epictetus stresses how important it is to live a good life. He tells people to act in a way that fits with their logical selves and with the basic rules of reason and fairness that everyone agrees on. People can be happy, at peace with themselves, and have a full life by being good. Tell us about your opinions in the comments section below and subscribe to our channel for more. See you in the next video.